Good
Hello.
morning. Hello.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Good morning.
Serge, how you feeling
Serge.
today?
I'm feeling great. It's always a pleasure to join Joel and you a little bit, Danielle, as well. But we've
So,
got a really exciting show, so it's fun to join this one. But
Yeah.
I'm curious, guys. It's the middle of summer. Like, what's vacations coming up? Have you been enjoying summer? Do you care about summer?
No. No.
no,
I
no.
have all my kids at home, which is perfect. Nothing like screaming kids in the morning, meetings. But that being said, I actually did get some time off, and I got a week coming a week off coming up in about 2 weeks. So
Hey,
excited about that.
nice.
What about you, Danielle?
I'm totally grinding in August. I'm not planning on taking any time off. I took time off in June. But since then, spending my weekends, by the lake, wake surfing, picking up new hobbies, pickleballing. Played volleyball last night, got elbowed in the face by my own boyfriend. We need
Nice.
to let's go. Let's get him. Yeah, but I'm okay. So, no bloody noses going
So no
on.
micro retirements for you coming up?
Yeah. Kind of my whole life is a micro retirement.
I was
Nice.
gonna say,
So Gen Z. So Gen Z.
Yeah.
tell me about pickleball, though. I thought pickleball was for the
Oldies.
older
Oh,
generation. Like, what
yeah,
you
it's
like
like
it?
the most intergenerational sport out there right now. I personally I go mostly on the weekends when I'm in Connecticut with my parents. Shout out to all the pickleball fans, by the way. And we will go at like no matter what time. If it's 7:30, like when I got back from Europe, we went really early. If it's 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, there are always people on the pickleball court, and the average age is like 75. It's unbelievable. And they're better than me. So, yeah.
I'm not
Good.
surprised. I've played pickleball once. I quite enjoyed it, but I did feel older than normally I would coming from. I played a lot of tennis, but I think pickleball is actually a really good sport because everyone can do it. It doesn't take really a long time to kind of get it.
Yeah.
I think
Like
it's a good sport
easier
for everybody.
than table tennis and it is, yeah, no, it's harder than table tennis, but like easier than normal tennis. I feel like it's somewhere in between
Yeah,
for me.
agreed.
We
Yeah.
Agreed.
you should do that for an episode of X to the Z. It should just be like a pickleball episode.
Oh my God, that's such a great idea.
Well,
I
Evan
love
came up with it
that.
in the chat. Talking about the chat, we got Joey in the chat, Jess, Christopher, Steven, Mr. White, and Chris again. So good morning, everyone. It's
Good
good to see you
morning.
guys. And we didn't do the official welcome, but this is the HR morning show. We're on episode 55. That means we've been going longer than a year, which
Crazy.
I just want to give some context on this because I think sometimes people get a little bit confused with like podcasting and content. Most podcasts, I think, what are the stats, Serge? You might know this. It's like 90% of podcasts don't even make it past like episode 3, and then it's like 98% of podcasts don't even make it past like episode 10. So we're on episode 55. So we can say we're in the top 1% just by default, I would say, right?
Yeah,
That's
we
amazing.
are definitely. I think the stat is actually like 6 episodes is the norm. So being at 55 is impressive. And I don't think people realize a live show is even more
So
difficult
hard.
after years of doing a podcast. Like, this is way harder. You need a production team. Thank God for Alan and Mr. White. They make this work. But yeah, 55 episodes
And
is
we've
impressive.
had like tech issues, we've had storms that have come through, we've had connection, but we're
You guys
always
haven't even seen the first ever episode of Purple
we're
Acorn.
never that's never getting
It's
released.
never getting out. It's in the
That is
vault.
that's getting burned, okay? But we are a part of, Purple Acorn Network, so if you guys haven't checked out purpleacornnetwork.com, you need to because it's not just our show. We literally have, I think 10 to 15 different shows ranging from recruitment, HR, we've got just a ton of really, really good content, so I would go check out some of those other shows, get involved in the network. We'd love to hear from you guys. And then, go follow us on LinkedIn. We're still trying to get to 2,000. We are trying to get to 2,000 followers. I don't like to ask for follows, but I'm doing it in this case. So go follow us on LinkedIn, and then you can check us out on YouTube. Spotify, anywhere that podcasts are. And again, we're live every Tuesday. Although I think we're gonna have a little bit of a break, a little bit of a vacation coming up. But every Tuesday you can find us here, and each week we got guests, amazing guests each week, and today is no different. See Chris and Jess out there as well. So good to see you guys and get in the chat as well. We love to know who's out there. Interact with us, ask questions, make comments, make fun of me, make fun of make fun of Serge. Do not make fun of Danielle, whatever you do. But it's good to be here with you guys. And it's good to have you here too, Serge. I mean, you're like the host with the most. I love seeing you on here.
Well, I appreciate coming on, and it's always we're not doing the weather today, so I figured that I would come in and co-host. Makes it a lot easier. No weather report. The weather's perfect everywhere.
Perfect.
That is true.
I love it. I love it. Well, why don't we? We've got some big news, right? I don't even want to get into that, but we got some news today for our headline. So why don't we roll into the news of the week?
Let's do it.
Headline.
I woke up to a major announcement in the HR tech world, and we haven't seen as many transactions, I would say, in the last year, but this one is massive and it involves our partners. So last week, SmartRecruiters and SAP have entered into an agreement to acquire SmartRecruiters. So big news across the industry. There was a lot of analyst comments. There was a lot of folks wondering what this means. And for anyone that's used SAP SuccessFactors, I think there's a lot of clients that are probably really happy with what's going on. But we should bring like one of the catalysts of this deal.
Yeah, there's someone we know, isn't there?
Yeah, we know someone that should come in and help us with the headlines. Let's bring in Ellen Bailey. Good morning.
Ooh, good morning, Drew.
Have you
feel
slept?
like a mazel tov is due to you.
Thank you, Danielle. Have I slept? No, Serge. I haven't slept. There was like a moment between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. on Friday where I passed out for like a couple hours, and then that was it. We just keep rolling. Let's go.
Running on fumes. I love it.
What is the feeling at SmartRecruiters internally right now? This is a big deal. SAP is a giant in our industry, and obviously getting acquired, like I'm sure there's anxiety, but I'm sure overall people are pretty happy. But what's your gut feeling of how people are feeling internally at SmartRecruiters?
Overall, we're super excited. I think the entire organization is excited. Listen, this is we made no qualms about talking about this from really the beginning of the year going forward, that we saw the opportunity out there for SmartRecruiters to really connect and collaborate with a really great partner and pull this over the line. So everybody internally knew that was the mission and the frame, right? One of the things we've got going for us is we are a very transparent organization. We brought everybody together in Madrid in February. We had a very robust conversation about what our strategy was, what our intent was, what we needed to do, how we needed to operate, what was important to us. And I think that helped. So as this news came through, but listen, it was the timing was incredibly interesting for us. So for those of you who have been trying to reach out to all of your Smartians and have a conversation and talk about what's going on and get their opinion, et cetera, this dropped on the Friday morning of the day before our annual summer Smartian shutdown. So everybody at SmartRecruiters, including Rebecca, everybody is on their summer vacation this week. We rolled this sucker out, had a really big push for about 48 hours internally with a lot of open town halls and a lot of dialogue and conversation and a lot of kind of really digesting this. And then everybody went off on a fabulous summer break. And so I think that's actually kind of cool, right? Everybody kind of said, we got it, we heard it. They're absorbing it. They're getting to go and be with their friends and their family, and they're all going to come back on Monday, and we're going to make this thing kind of trail through.
Wow, that it makes it not only more mysterious externally, but I also think that it leaves people with a feeling like, hey, I'm part of that, and I get to walk away and like go on my vacation and come back to a new, fresh, experience.
100%, 100%. And the message is really clear. Listen, this is a really strategic alignment. We can talk a lot more about that as we go forward and kind of what that means. But transparently, for us as a company, it means we get to stay exactly who we are: our energy, our people, our roadmap, our tech. Nothing changes. In fact, listen, if anybody's been through an acquisition before, let's be very clear. This is SAP is the 27th largest company in the world. This does not happen overnight. We're very close. We're very connected, but it definitely we know as a team for the next 18 to 24 months, we are completely us, completely operating as we always have, just being smarter about how we collaborate. And then as we go forward, we will continue to be us, which I think is a big deal. Whole team stays intact, whole roadmap stays intact. We just keep moving forward.
I personally love it because I've always known Smart Recruiters definitely through the people, but also the brand. I feel like the brand is all about transparency and DEI and making hiring better and faster for everyone. And I feel like this acquisition is really a sign of these bigger legacy tech companies realizing that they need to evolve or risk losing relevance, right? With this,
Yeah.
especially with the next generation of users and talent leaders. So I look at it as a really positive direction. And I also I felt like I knew something was going on. Also, when Sarah White joined the SAP team in the innovation category, I was like, okay, she's going to change things up. She's definitely going to bring some
Right.
new energy.
Right. I mean, it was really clear as Sarah moved over and started working with Dan Beck that there was going to be some sort of SAP story going forward. And listen, like I said, it was really clear as Rebecca and team really started to nail it in and to start talking about and building out our roadmap. It was clear we were planning something. So the fact that we were able to kind of find that right synergy, good timing, right? So,
Yeah,
yeah.
we've heard so many. I've heard a lot of people making predictions about other companies, like what's going to be
Mhm.
the next big kind of acquisition. So it's awesome that you're leading the way with this. But I also think it puts a lot of pressure on other systems because you guys have been leading with AI as well and leading with AI throughout the recruitment process. And it puts a lot of pressure on the competition. So it's like now's the time, right? Now's the time to see what happens.
Well, you know me, Joel. We don't we don't go off the gas, right? I
That's
mean,
right.
if those people can't keep up, I'm so sorry. We have places to go and things to do and an entire world of work to change. We don't have time for everybody to kind of be mulling around in the background figuring out what they're going to be building and how they're going to get out the door. We're running. And we're going to keep running. And yeah, so the pressure's on. I'm not going to listen. Gauntlet's down. Pressure's on. We're going. Bring it. Bring everything you got. We still have the right path.
I feel like that's definitely the way that you have to be, especially right now as things are changing so quickly.
Mhm.
That's what I personally I always loved about what you bring to the show too is this, what are we looking forward to? What do we need to know? What do we need to be conscious of as we move forward and as things change so fast? So I think it makes total sense. I think it's a really beautiful match made in heaven. And I'm excited to see what comes of this.
Me too.
Hmm.
It's going to be awesome.
What can you share about how this unfolded? Like a behind the scenes of, all right, who reached out to who? Like, what were the steps? Like, is there anything you can share there?
I would love to say, Serge, that I am so in the know that I know all of those little inner working pieces. I'm going to be really honest with you guys. I did not know about this until I flew on an airplane to Krakow a few weeks ago. So this has been the team that's been working this has done a really good job of keeping this under under the radar, even internally, which is good. They're supposed to, right? As I mentioned, like that NDA is locked solid. We're not going anywhere with it. Here's what I would say. There were a lot of, and I've seen it, the background data. Obviously, as soon as I found out about it, the first thing I had to do is go find out everything that went on and what we need to know so I can start prepping and how we're going to talk about this. The number and hours of collaborative sessions that happened between not just kind of the movers and shakers and the deal makers, that stuff happened, right? But there was a lot of conversation amongst product and engineering and trying to understand, how do you migrate a platform, and what does this look like, and what does this look like in the new world? I think that's a really important part of the conversation that happened. This is not the acquisition world of even 5 years ago. The technology rails are very different. The way in which you integrate is very different. Really understanding the market was a lot of the conversation that happened. There were a lot of, I can tell you now, I'll give you my personal story now that I reflect on it and kind of go, oh, now I know what happened. So if anybody remembers, on June 10th, we did our huge product launch, right? And one of the big questions I got after the product launch was, Sharon is fabulous. We were surprised Rebecca wasn't on it. And transparently, up until the moment before we started to record, I was surprised Rebecca wasn't on. I mean, we wrote scripts. We did that really, really quickly. We reframed. Well, the reason was there were backroom conversations happening, and she had to be on actual phone calls that she got called away to go and have and to navigate and do. There are a lot of little moments like that I can look back at now and go, oh, now I know that's why that was happening. That makes a lot more sense. People aren't just crazy. Like there's real stuff happening there. So there was a lot of back and forth. It was good. There were good conversations. And listen, I think transparently the best conversations were the ones between Rebecca and Dan Beck. They are forming and built a really tight collaboration. A lot of conversation about what Rebecca intended for the company, where she wants to take it, how she leads, what she expects from her organization, and really how she expects to land in the SAP ecosystem and within kind of Dan's success factors world, without losing who we are, and maybe building a little of energy into their larger organization. That's my move.
Yeah, that would be my question for you is, how do you think SmartRecruiters will integrate with existing customers? That sounds like a really corporate question, but I am curious because SAP is, this legacy company that many people have had for many, many years. And now here comes SmartRecruiters, who they might not have heard of. I mean, hopefully they have, because you guys are big. But I am curious, like, what do you think SmartRecruiters is bringing to this new customer?
Right. So I think there are two customer bases, right, that we need to have a conversation. Actually, there are three. So let's talk about the two that are actually living on platforms today. There are the current SmartRecruiters customers. For them, nothing changes. It just gets bigger, better, faster. And if they're SAP customers and SmartRecruiter customers at the same time, this is like nirvana state for them. They are already the proof cases of how this works and what this looks like. If they are a SmartRecruiters customer sitting on no HCM or another HCM, nothing changes. Literally nothing changes. Why? Because we're not living in the same world of integrations and technology frameworks that we used to live in. Agentic changes the game, guys. You can integrate and connect to systems in a whole new way. So the need to have to kind of drop and move and shift isn't necessarily there, right? There are advantages to being on both, and that'll only accelerate. Those people who are sitting on SAP today, this should be there. If you're sitting on SAP Success Factors today, if you're not dancing in the streets about this merger, then you have not been paying attention. You need to come hang out, come see us. We're going to be at HR Tech. We're going to be at Unleash World. We're going to be at RecFest. We're going to be at every Gartner around the world. You need to come check it out, understand the platform and see what it's going to do for you, and talk to customers who are already on SAP and on SmartRecruiters at the same time and see how it's working for them, because it is exceptionally well. So for those customers, nothing changes immediately. Nothing changes right now, but the world gets better for them relatively soon. And I think they're going to see that.
A lot of people don't realize that SmartRecruiters was founded in the early 2000s, which seems so long ago. Jerome, the original founder, is still around, I believe, on the board. How did he react to this? Because like it's his baby being sold.
I think he's more like his baby just graduated from college.
Fair enough.
Right? I think he's excited. I know he's excited. I don't. You can check out. He's talked about it. He's out there on LinkedIn. He's been sharing what he's saying. Listen, he is super excited. You want to know what the best part of all of this has been? When I learned this information staying in Krakow. So I feel like I've been here forever. I haven't. I've been with the SmartRecruiters team for going on 4 years. Right? That seems like a long time, but it's not incredibly long. We have people who have been here from its inception in 2010, right? Kind of in those spaces. After the news was shared with our executive leadership team, I went out to dinner with a group of people who have been here for a variety of periods of time, and listening to their stories about the first office above the garage in a back alley in San Francisco, and the fact that you had to fight the dog to get up the front steps. I was talking to Bill Borman. He was talking about the first time he came in and there was a brothel downstairs. I mean, listen, Jerome built this company as a scrappy company. We, from the very beginning, have been a company, and the DNA is in all the people who are with us, right? We built a company very much on, okay, this is where we're at. Let's make it work. We got something to do. And it was folding chairs and folding chairs and weird tables and empty spaces. Even today, for those of you who are in New York, I love, this is one of my favorite stories about even how we operate today. Listen, we have offices all around the world. Some of them are bigger than others and more people, but we're mostly a remote first company. As we started, the exec team really started to formulate and get connected. Most of them are on the East Coast. We opened up an office in the Flatiron, right? So the first time I got to go to that office was late last year when we just opened it. But we'd been there for a while, right? So super excited. Like, cool, I'm going to go to the office in New York. I'm going to go check it out. We didn't buy any furniture. Right? I mean, we're still on what conference table they left in that office room, and we're slowly kind of bringing the people. But because that's not where we invest our time. We invest it in bringing the people together, having the conversation. We've got a space, we've got that dialogue going on, but we're not big and glossy in those ways. And I think it shows in how we build. That was a long answer, but I'm excited.
Scrappy is great.
Yeah, people make me really excited. I personally am really excited to be able to represent them and this team of people. There's 430 some people across the company. Many of them who have, over 50% of them who have 10 years that go past 7-8 years. These people have worked their butts off to get here. And it's fun to be part of that conversation with them now and see what they've done.
Super fun.
It's a celebration. How about, I really appreciate you joining the headlines to give us some really cool insights, but how about we jump into your segment and let's just dive into even deeper.
Let's do it.
So as you know, I live and breathe the HR tech space, and I can tell you there's been a lot of speculation. There's been a lot of talk. And the main question that I've been getting is, why have they not disclosed any terms? And I think it's partly out of curiosity. We want to see what the marketplace is. But what's your take there?
Nobody discloses terms. What have these people never done anything with? Probably not. Here's what you need to know. This is my answer to everybody on this one. I'll start off here. SmartRecruiters and SAP, right, is a global company on multiple global stock exchanges, right? In fact, we had to launch this thing in a very particular timing so that the signatures happened after a board meeting and right before the Frankfurt stock market opened, because you have to disclose very specific things. And then there are other things that you either can't or shouldn't disclose because you're talking about a company that is traded on multiple stock
Yeah.
spaces, right? So there's never going to be a world in which this sort of a company is going to give you, yeah, here's the exact deals. Let me give you the dollar amount, and here's where we like, or here's the bank account routing number that's happening to. That's not going to happen, right? Here's what I can say to everybody. I
Please.
can say this very firmly. SmartRecruiters and the team at SmartRecruiters is really pleased about what we're getting ready to embark on. And it is not a marriage of convenience. This is not a we had to take this offer. There wasn't anything else. There were options on both sides, and the right deal was struck that balanced everything we needed. The right result for that team who's been sitting there waiting for that to happen for them, right? There are people, this is their entire world has been around kind of what's going to be this look like when we exit in this space, right? The right deal for our customers in order for them to be able to get what they were promised they were going to get and more, and the right deal for SAP. And I hit all the marks. There you
So
go.
I love that. I personally, so this is a personal opinion here.
Mhm.
For a long time, I knew something would happen with SmartRecruiters, and I strongly believe that eventually it would go to IPO. Obviously, the IPO market, especially for HR tech, but pretty much everything now, is not in a good position. So I was curious, like seeing what's going on with you've had some major changes overall as far as strategy and how you're going to the marketplace with Winston. I thought you're positioning yourself to go to IPO. You might not have this insight, but I'm just curious. Was that ever on the table going to IPO?
Well, yeah, I mean, at some point it was on the table.
Yeah.
I think, listen, in the early Jerome built the company intending it to go to IPO. There are people who were
Yeah.
sitting in the company who came assuming they were going to go to IPO at some point. When we met with the entire company in February, and Rebecca and Tom, our CFO, sat down and we as a team walked through with the entire company where the variables were, right? What the market was doing, what the options were, how we kind of went down this piece. We made a collective decision to thread the needle.
Yeah.
And that was to find the perfect match with the perfect valuation, with the perfect moment, with the perfect roadmap. And so we did it. We also made a critical decision that looked at it and said, this is not the market to go. I mean, go ahead and go, guys. But that doesn't allow us to accelerate, because at the root of us, we are a mission-based company.
Yeah.
Right. And so an exit is an exit. I don't see this as an exit. I see this as an acceleration. And I think that was a choice. 430 some people sat around and said, yeah, we don't want to stop. We want to go and go bigger.
Why do you think SAP looked at SmartRecruiters and looking at you? I did not realize that SAP was the 27th biggest company in the world. That's crazy. But
Right.
looking at SmartRecruiters, looking at the different branding, you have a different go-to-market in a lot of ways. Like, what attracted SAP to SmartRecruiters? Obviously, you're not in their seat, but I'm curious if you've got any insights on that.
Well, we're cool.
Yeah, you are.
Well, there's a couple of things. Right. Okay. So one, we need to look at this in the larger picture past just HR tech, right? Let's understand what's happening in the larger enterprise technology space, and look at it from that lens. I would now listen. I wasn't in the decision making framework, but here's how I'm going to tell you I would think about it if I were them, and I feel like this is very much in the vibe. Okay. There are a few companies, global companies, who are proactively trying to redefine what enterprise tech looks like in the agentic world, right? I think it is Microsoft. We are all clear on that. Listen, if you haven't heard it, they're doing some agentic stuff, right? I think that ServiceNow has been very vocal from their seat of what they're trying to do in that space. And what you may not understand or have seen, SAP has been very much in that space as well. SmartRecruiters is a very smart option for them because we built a recruiting AI company. We have an agentic framework. And remember, the piece I've been trying to kind of slowly embed into everybody's consciousness is we were uniquely positioned to do so. Because to build true agentic solutions, to build a true recruiting AI infrastructure, you need three things. And we were the only ones positioned to have that. First, we had the composable and adjustable and highly configurable operating system. You have to have that, because even once you put the interaction layer on top, which is Winston for us to go in and extract and take actions, etc., if it can't work, right, because it doesn't have actual unique actions it can take in a very configurable global infrastructure, it won't work for you. So we were able to do it. We were able to do it fast. We were able to show two things. It did not hurt. Listen, it did not hurt. When Gartner came out and put us in the top corner and said, from the beginning, best vision, best ability to execute. And SAP is a company that wants to move fast in this agentic world, and we're there. So they need us. That's where that partnership happens. And for us, listen, they're deep, not just in their HR tech space, in SAP's larger world, the work they are doing to advance AI and agentic solutions in the enterprise space. Once we start tapping into that, because we get to start playing together, my God, is recruiting going to change forever, right? It's the moment.
Yeah, I love that perspective, because I'm curious if this is going to become a trend, looking at larger companies, looking at very innovative companies in their particular space, looking at acquiring what they're doing. And obviously this is the case here, but do you see this as kind of opening the gates, and we're going to see a bunch of other big players looking at acquisitions very similar to this? Obviously,
Yeah.
that's out of your realm, but like, what's your opinion on it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really interesting fall. I think we're going to see a lot of stuff. Listen, we all know there are rumors out there. There are some conversations already happening. Let's see what falls over. Let's see what comes through in the line. Everybody's going to have a different strategy as they approach this. And I think we're going to see a variety of different combinations of things. This is going to be the world of consolidation that we start to see. We're going to see companies who are doing what SAP is doing and saying, how can I move faster? How can I rethink? How can I, go with a market innovator and use that as my frame? You're going to see other companies who are saying, how do I just stabilize my core? And what is the thing I'm missing that allows me to just kind of meet the minimum that I can make big profit off of, and let me move that direction. We're going to see that, and then I think we're going to see some PE consolidations as well, where we start to see PE firms starting to pull in some of these point solutions and building consolidated stacks. And I think we're going to start seeing that as soon as September. I think HR tech's going to be like the wild, wild west, folks. It's going to be fun.
Oh, I agree. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. So anytime you do a transaction like this, we talked a little bit about this, but I think it's really important to dig in deeper, is what your customers should expect. So you gave a framework, but I'm just curious what that strategy looks like as far as what is client communication, how deep do you go, how do you get your sales reps, your customer service agents to make sure that they're delivering the right message. And because there's always a little bit of anxiety. If I'm using SmartRecruiters, I'm like, I'm not part of the HR tech community. I'm not sure how this is going to affect me. Like, what is the communication to those customers to make sure they're feeling, okay, this is really good for us?
Wow, that's a big question. And I'll answer this way. There's a reason I haven't slept for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Building out those, because there's a lot of people that we need to talk to, and there's a lot of different perspectives that we've needed to address. So one of the things I'm actually really proud of with this is from the moment that press release launched, within 10 minutes, every single customer of SmartRecruiters had an email with a clarification, a notification, and an explanation of what to expect next in their inbox. And every single one of those customers that is at kind of our when we tier customers that's seen at that enterprise level, had a meeting, a phone call, and a conversation. So we're in there. We're having that dialogue. We did it really early on. And by the way, we did it. The same thing happened with every single customer who's sitting in our pipeline of prospects and has been in negotiation and conversation with us, because listen, if you and I have been in this space, right? When you are trying to bring a tech solution over the line inside a company, no matter how big the company is, you are often staking your career on those choices and decisions. So we knew really early on that is important. We get to them right away to explain to them what this means in their world, for their deal, in their frame, so that they feel comfortable talking to their teams, right? So that we've done that across the board. So that I would say lots of communication. We are not closing that door. There's been a lot of dialogue. But one of the things that is challenging about this sort of communication right off the bat is we know what we know, right? Everybody wants a sense of certainty that we can tell you exactly what it's going to look like in 12 months and 18 months and 24 months. Well, nobody can do that. What we can tell you is what the agreements are, what the synergies are, and why SAP wanted us in the first place. And what it would behoove them to continue to accelerate and to collaborate with us on, and they're doing so. And we have every intention to keep that forward. In store, here's what every customer needs to know, and every prospect who's looking at us needs to know. Nothing changes, business as usual. Same team. Literally, they bought our team as much as our tech. That was a key part of this conversation. So same team, same tech right now, right? It's only going to get better. When I say same tech, it's only going to get better. Same roadmap. Our roadmap was also what they bought, and they're not diverting from it, and they're sticking to it. And we are going to operate as an independent standalone company for the foreseeable future. And when I say foreseeable future, that's the best we can all say, right? But at least for the next years, if not further. Listen, Rebecca is still at the helm. She will stay at the helm. And if anybody has met her, talked to her, or watched her, you do not need to worry that she's not going to hold her own sitting in a conference room if there's a debate that comes up about roadmap, strategy, or product. The vision stays the same. If you are not on an SAP product today, you do not need to worry. We have an alignment and agreement that we will remain composable. We will allow us to work across platform, agnostic of solution. That's part of what makes us amazing. And everybody says, how can that possibly be? Because the tech is different than it was years ago. The biggest scenarios that I hear are two. Oh my God, this is just like when Oracle bought Taleo. The world is going to come to an end. One, if we think about that in terms of when that happened, that was like thinking about things from the Ice Age, right? The world has changed so dramatically. But two, you have to understand how tech integrates today. AI changes the game. You used to have full code bases that merged, entire infrastructures that aligned in order for systems to be able to operate seamlessly together. AI changes that story, right? AI allows you to work across multiple platforms, multiple infrastructures simultaneously if you construct those interactions between the AI and the systems well. And they bought us because we do that. We were already doing it. Now we'll just do it at scale.
Can you do me a favor? So I've been a past SAP SuccessFactor and SmartRecruiter client. And what I loved about SmartRecruiter, and it's still there, is the UI and the UX. So the user experience is really, really cool. I'm not bashing SAP, but SuccessFactor kind of feels like WordArt meets DOS. I haven't used it in a couple of years, so that might have changed. It's not a slight at them, but can you bring your UX UI into SuccessFactor? Can you promise me that?
I can't promise you anything. It's not my job. No, here's what I can do. They know they bought us for our UX as well. I don't see how we don't influence that and how that doesn't happen. I love that you're talking about the UX. Shafali Netka, for those of you who were lucky enough, and if you haven't seen, go back and watch it, watched our launch video from June 10th. Shafali Netka was highly featured in that. She is the brains and has been for almost a decade now behind that user experience and the work that goes on there. That UX team, I'm an experienced designer, you know that as heart. So like, I love how deep they go with that. They are brilliant. They are coming along. And yeah, obviously, the intent here is that we influence, and I think we will. We're not quiet people over at SmartRecruiter. Like I said, if anybody's thinking that we're going to shrink over into the wall now and just be eaten up by the big machine, you have not met any of us.
I really don't expect that. So if we're looking at a year from now, so we're episode 110 and you're still on the show, and I ask you the question, have you been successful? Like, what is success going to look like a year from now in this post-acquisition world? And you guys have been working together for a year. Like, what does it mean to you? What does success look like?
Well, transparently, if we're successful a year from now, all of the legal requirements have been met, and all the fabulous companies like the U.S. and every other, all the antitrust things have all said, this sounds fabulous, and we are operating together, right? And listen, that's out of all of our hands. I'm comfortable. This is not like this is the first time SAP or anybody has done this. There's enough lawyers working on this stuff. I think they're going to figure this out. I'm not worried about that.
What's the time frame on that, though? Like, that's a good point. So it needs approval, antitrust. Like, what do you know there?
It can go really short, and a minimum 30 days, right?
Okay.
So we'll use US as the marker. Here's what oh my God, somebody's going to get me on this because I probably don't know the exact verbiage and languages, but I'm going to give it to you the way I understand it and has been explained to me. Okay. So the filings happen. It happens in multiple places. SAP is a global company. It's in global spaces. Every place this is a material purchase, the filings have to happen with those individual countries. There are not actually that many that this is material for. The US is one of them. What then happens is countries like the US, I know what happens in the US, have 30 days to respond to that filing with questions. If they don't respond to that filing with questions, good to go. Here we go. If they ask a question, we respond to it and the clock starts over again for another 30 days. That's what I know. Do I anticipate? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what the questions might or might not be. But I know they've prepped really hard. I know there have been a countless number of people who do this all day for a living, sitting in boardrooms trying to figure out what all the various different questions can be and trying to respond to those ahead of time. But we also all know the world that we live in which governments are operating. So we'll see.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on. I was so excited when I got the midnight email because I was checking my emails at midnight, particularly, and seeing that acquisition kind of like shook me out of bed for a minute. So I know that you've put in a lot of work. I know your team has put in a lot of work, and I know SAP's team has put in a lot of work. And I think overall, the sentiment in the industry, from what I can see, is everyone's extremely excited about it. So kudos to you guys. Kudos to you. And we're so happy to be a partner with you on the HR Morning Show and getting these insights, really the behind the scenes and your strategy. This has been very enlightening for our audience. So I appreciate it. Aline, what are you doing in the next little while? So you're going to do HR Tech, you're going to do RecFest. Like, are you guys going anywhere else?
Okay, we're going to be everywhere. So first off, if you're going to be anywhere near Las Vegas during HR Tech, you need to hit me up. It's going to be off the hook. You know, I throw a good. I can already tell you.
You do throw a good party.
Okay, we already got what's going on, and we have some things to celebrate. So I think we'll be doing that. We'll be at RecFest in Nashville. We'll be at Unleash World in Paris. In between there, we actually are going to be, for those of you who are on the kind of CHRO seat space listening in to this, we're going to be at Gartner in London, Gartner in Sydney, and Gartner in Orlando. Those are actually really interesting conversations for us because it's an audience that we don't always talk to. We started doing that last year where it's a much deeper conversation. In all of those spaces, you are going to get to touch, feel, ask questions, actually build your own scenarios on how the solution will work for you, hands-on, inside, those conversations. I'm actually super excited about that. It's a very interesting frame that we're taking for this. No sit and watch a demo action in our space. You get to play with it. First off, what I'm going to do personally, for those of you who know my lovely friend Tracy, we just locked this down late last night. Again, this is our summer vacation at SmartRecruiters. The noise has been good. I think I'm going to be able to take a little pause here. I'll have my phone on me, but I'm going to get on an airplane on Thursday and hang out with my friend Tracy in LA. And on Friday, we're going to go get some Mickey waffles and hang out in Disneyland for the day.
Oh,
Do some roller coasters and chill and see Mickey Mouse. And then I'm going to come back home and get going because we have stuff to do.
well, you deserve it. And also, after all of this is done, take a longer vacation in November, December. Take a
Absolutely.
year off, just
Why not?
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really appreciate this. Thank you for sharing all this fabulous news, and thank you for being a partner
Of
to
course.
Purple Acorn.
Thanks, Serge.
Hello, hello. If you do not know what ERIN is, I think you should. ERIN is the premier, the iconic employer referral platform. And if you have not gotten your red shoes pictured here in time for conference season, you definitely should do it right now. Here's the link. It's erinapp.com/red shoes. Don't miss out. Erin is the iconic, again, iconic employee referral platform. And y'all should get in on this action. All right, I think it's time for our next guest.
Hello, Heather. Welcome to the show. Good to have you with us. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Glad to
Yeah,
be here.
usually people don't pick up my calls, so this is first time for everything. So Heather, why don't I know this is the first time we've connected, so I'd love to kind of hear what you're about. Give us a little flavor, like who are you, what do you do, and who do you do it for?
Yeah, so I'm the director of sales and content marketing at OnGig. So we are a job description management platform that integrates with all the fun applicant tracking systems, helps people automate their job description workflows, which can be a major headache.
Yeah.
I also host my own little podcast, nothing like these, but it's called the JD Fix. So 15
Love
minutes
it.
or less. Yeah, we tackle some job description problems, red flags, issues, headaches, all the things.
I love it. Well, we're always looking for podcasts for the Purple Acorn Network. So
Okay.
the JD Fix on the way to being part of the family. But no, just kidding. But okay, so job descriptions, let's just face it, most job descriptions suck, at least in my experience. I know I've done a test on some of my like TikTok lives that I do with job seekers where we'll actually read job descriptions and then
Mhm.
try and figure out what the job is, and usually we can't even figure out what the job is from a job description. So what are your thoughts around that? Like, why do job descriptions just suck most of the time? Like, why do they have so many buzzwords? Like, what's the deal there?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to what I call copy paste syndrome.
Yeah.
So people are busy. They have too many things to do, right? So they're like, okay, I'm a hiring manager. I want to have this new position. I'm just going to copy the one from 10 years ago that's on my shared drive. And so it's really outdated. It's probably inconsistent with the other hiring managers that are writing job descriptions. A lot of people are using what I call the internal job description for their external facing job posting.
Yeah.
So it's really legal sounding, really boring, not candidate first. So when we help our clients rewrite and retemplate their job postings, we say start with what the candidates care about. What are they going to be doing? What is the salary? Are they remote? Are they hybrid? What are all the things that they think about when they're searching for jobs?
I love it. So would you say, I've heard this before, like there's like that difference between like a job ad and then like a job description, and then you're mentioning like job posts. So like, how do you kind of
Yeah.
segment out the differences between those things? Like, what do people really need to think about?
Yeah, so we actually wrote a whole blog post about what is a job description versus a job posting versus a job ad. And I think the job descriptions are a great place to start, because there's key pieces about the job.
Yeah.
And you can still have those and you still need those for performance reviews and things like that. But use that as a guide to then create something that is more external facing. So whether you call it a job posting or a job ad, I guess it really comes down to where you're putting it. So maybe on your career site, it's a job posting. And then if you're pushing it to LinkedIn or Indeed, maybe it's a job ad. So it might be a little bit shorter. But you want to make sure that the key pieces are there and it's not just a copy paste of, a legal document that you use for your
I love reading legal documents, so they're like my favorite thing to do.
right? Every
Well,
day I read one before I get my day started.
same here. Nothing like reading some good old legal documents. Well, look, I think a lot of people, at least what I've noticed in recruitment, we start talking about like rewriting job descriptions, right? It just seems like a lot of work. So like, how do you come in and kind of help your clients with that, and like how do you kind of get them to think differently about the rewriting of the job descriptions to maybe make it not seem like such a massive undertaking?
Yeah, so I think the first step for us is really getting a solid job library or job repository, whatever you call it. So a lot of times people come to us, and especially global clients, they have all these different platforms and places that things are stored. So really the first step is getting it all in one place.
Yeah.
And then thinking about, do you have a template or do you need to create one or multiple, templates for different locations? And then start with kind of your top jobs that you're hiring for consistently. So
Yeah.
I worked with a client where we rewrote 750 job postings.
Oh.
And it was before, all the AI and automation stuff that we had in our platform. So we've been in the trenches, but we started with their engineering roles, which is what they wanted to edit first because they were the worst according to their team, right? So start with a block, re-template them, and then you can get the flow of, okay, now I have this template, I know what sections I want, and then train the users. So if your hiring managers are writing or your recruiters are writing, whoever it is, to understand, okay, this is the new format. This platform supports you to make it faster. I think that's a good place to kind of start.
And you mentioned AI. I mean, you can't not mention AI in a conversation,
Yeah.
by the way, today, in any type of context. But obviously we have AI now. What are some of like the mistakes that you're seeing people make when it comes to writing job descriptions and kind of using AI to do that? And how are you kind of guiding and coaching and upskilling people to know how to use AI in the right way?
Yeah. So, a lot of calls that we have, people are like, well, I'm using ChatGPT and I use the $20 a month version, right? The paid version. And I'm writing job descriptions, but then I go on LinkedIn and I see that there's all the same wording, for all these other companies. So a lot of times you get the same output. And we even at OnGig created a couple custom GPTs. So one that writes job descriptions from scratch and then one that rewrites a job description. But I feel like you still need to go a step further, especially if you want to inject your kind of brand and your voice into the job descriptions. And that's where the templating really comes in. So, you can feed AI a template or ChatGPT, but it doesn't always listen. We know this, it hallucinates, right?
Yeah.
But then, so our platform actually ties in the templates and a similar setup like if you went to ChatGPT, but within each section of the template and even knowledge base behind the scenes, you can put information about the format that you want or the voice that you want or things to avoid. So I think that's kind of where we go a little bit further than just, okay, I wrote this on ChatGPT. And there's also the legal aspect at some companies where people say we're not allowed to just go on, Perplexity or Claude or wherever and write my job description. So I need help with where to even begin. So
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense, and it's funny, we see the same thing too with candidates and resumes nowadays, right? Where it's like they'll sometimes they'll even take the job description, put it into ChatGPT, and say, create a resume for me based on the job
mhm.
description, or they'll have their kind of resume kind of half built, and they'll put it in their ChatGPT and say expand on it. But you end up with
Yeah,
such a similar output, and it's really interesting. You still need to take those extra steps to really make sure you're positioning it in the right way. Walk me
for sure.
through some like the ROI that people get when they actually do job descriptions the right way, because I know a lot of times, people are under time crunch, they've got budget restraints, and they need just a quick solution. So like what's some of the ROI that you see with clients that you work with on how like really putting the time into job descriptions and getting this right and getting job posts right? Like how does that impact the business and how does it impact recruiting?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a couple of things. So, 3 years ago, people were coming to us and saying, "We need more applicants," right, in various, departments,
Yeah.
and now it's kind of the opposite. They're like, "We have way too many people, they're not qualified." So really sitting down with that template and thinking about, what do we wanna put in here so that we're attracting the right people, and making it short enough, not 1,500 words. You want like 300 to 700 words so people can scan it and actually want to apply. So you get those quality people. Another aspect is, using plain language, taking out the buzzwords that people are just like, ugh, no, I'm not even reading any further because, I don't want to work in a fast paced environment. And,
You don't
certain
want to wear
buzzwords.
multiple hats with a bunch of rock stars and unicorns.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Um, And then, there's also globally, a lot of people are still really focused on inclusive language. So making sure that you're not using words or phrases that unintentionally exclude or even offend people. So you're missing out on really awesome applicants that, if you just kind of scrubbed that out, you would get better people. So we've really seen, over the last 5 years, people have wider candidate pools, but with more qualified people when they do a big cleanup. And also on the inside, with the teams, it saves headaches for the HR team and recruiters and hiring managers and people that are spending hours on something that they could really just kind of fine tune, and then it saves them loads of time to work on what they actually need to work on.
I love it. I love it. Well, that's massive ROI there. Well, Heather, where can people connect with you? Where can people find out more about what you're up to?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn, so you can look for me, Heather Barbour Fenty. Also, my podcast is in various places. I publish it first on Substack, and then it goes to Spotify, Apple, all the
And
places. So,
is that every week? What's the frequency there?
yeah, I do it weekly. I think I missed 1 week when I was at RecFest in the UK, which was my first time, and I
Nice.
loved it. It
I
was
love it.
great.
I know
But the
you're gonna
time
be
change, yeah.
time change screws you up, and then yeah, I mean, anytime you go out and about, it's so hard to keep up with the content creation. Are you gonna be at
Yeah,
RecFest USA as well?
I am. I was there last year, and I'm planning to head back this year too.
Amazing. Well, massive shout out to RecFest. I know we got an announcement with one of our hosts coming up as well, which I'm excited about.
Nice.
But Heather, thanks so much for sharing that. Hopefully, we'll get to meet in real life, and maybe we'll do like a part two of this interview in real life as well. But
I
thank you
love
so
it.
much for calling in today. We'll talk soon.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, bye, Heather.
At Humoriso, we're not just another HR consultancy. We're a team of dedicated experts wanting to bring your business forward. Our Humoriso Technology Solutions, HTS, are a different kind of HR tech. Give real-time insights without overwhelming managers with too much data. So whether you're a growing startup, an established company, our human resources, outsource support, payroll management are all there to help drive your business forward. So check us out and see what Humoriso could do for you today.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to the show, Kaleem. Hello.
What's happening, Danielle?
Oh, nothing much. I'm just a lot of inside scoop going on today. It's a very exciting episode. So obviously, even more exciting that you're here.
Well, glad you picked up the phone because, I was calling and I was wondering if you were going to pick up. So I'm happy you did.
Well, I will always pick up the phone for you. No worries. So Kaleem, before I give everyone kind of a little bit of a inside scoop on our relationship, how we met and how we vibe. Why don't you give a little bit of a background on who you are and what you do best?
Yeah. So my name is Kaleem Clarkson. I am a remote work expert and consultant. I'm the CEO of a company called Blend Me Inc. We started in 2013 with training organizations how to manage their people remotely. So we've been doing it for a while. We offer fractional HR leadership. So, hey, if you have a team and maybe somebody goes on leave and you need some temporary support, we can be there for temporary support. We have about, 7 different consultants that we can deploy on part-time assignments. And they've worked for companies like, Google, Amazon, EY. So yeah, they got a lot of experience, so you can take advantage of that experience. And also have 2 podcasts on the Pan Network. Really excited about. We have Remotely One, which we've had for a while. I think you've been a guest on that show, Danielle.
Yes.
Over 100 episodes there, and we've had some really, really great guests on that show. My co-host Rick and I, so we're extremely proud to kind of bring that show over to the Pan Network. And then we're starting a new show, which just launched last week. So it's called Return to People, because everyone's talking about return to office all the time. So kind of, return to office, AI, automation. It's like, where are the humans? You know what I mean? What about the people, Danielle? So we
The
decided
humans are on your podcast, apparently. That's what I've heard.
Still need people for now.
I love that. That is awesome. So you are an expert podcaster. I was on your show. It was truly the most fun I've ever had on someone else's podcast. So we had a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. But in addition to what you do, you've also been recognized. I don't want you to sell yourself short. You've been recognized as a top voice on LinkedIn, one of the top 150 remote influencers. I think we were probably on the same list at some point. And as well as being a podcaster. So as far as like what I think it's interesting because like we're in HR right here, right?
Yes.
And I went from being at an HR tech company to being at a workplace tech company. And like it's kind of weird because we're talking about similar things, but it's 2 different industries. And I feel like you bring this other side of the coin of like you're kind of in the middle. You're like exactly at the intersection of like people and place and like why the 2, are relevant to each other. So I'm really curious, like how you feel like what you feel like these shows are bringing to maybe the HR world that other people might not have heard, or our audience might not have heard before, or a take that they haven't maybe realized.
Yeah. So I think there was kind of this natural segmentation during the pandemic. We've been talking a lot about people operations / HR. We like to use people ops, but it's, we'll say HR for now. And, HR has always been involved with place. And a lot of times in some organizations that branch may separate under facilities maybe. But as we've evolved, the workplace, look, you can call it, some people try to call it a family, which I do not like. I don't think it's a family. But I like the term community better. A workplace is a community. It's a collection of like-minded people. Sorry, let me rephrase. It's a collection of people all trying to get something done, not like-minded. They're all trying to get something done for the company. So I believe human resources, people ops have always been about place. That's just my personal opinion because, prior to the pandemic, place was really associated with work. So I do believe, and what I do like about the podcast on the Pan Network, sorry, not trying to hype up the Pan too much, is that everyone on the show has their own little caveat to the HR space, like yourself. I think the generational challenges, regardless of what generation, because more generations are going to come, it's always a challenge. So I think that that's really unique, and it's something I never really thought of until you and I had a kind of cup of coffee together, and even yourself, when you're talking about your experiences on the show, I never once thought about, wow, these challenges may not be individualized, they may be generationalized. So I just made up some words, but whatever. Yeah.
No, it's okay. We love making up words here. It's
It's
actually
about communication.
it's
Y'all know what I'm talking about.
edutainment. That's what it is. We had a Gen Z word of the week once upon a time. If
Oh my
if you
gosh.
want that to come back, let us know. But I am curious because I think we've seen like this huge RTO push in the past year, I would say. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
am curious, to hear your perspective and maybe draw your stake in the sand on this topic
yeah.
of, remote first, because I think now maybe a little bit of a more radical, side of the coin. I think a lot of companies have gone hybrid, but I
Yeah.
am curious about maybe like a story that you have in your arsenal from the podcast or from
Mm,
the new podcast, that maybe demonstrates why remote first isn't just a perk,
mm,
and why it is a really effective strategy, because I've seen it firsthand work for a lot of
yes.
companies, but maybe people who are tuning in haven't.
You know, Danielle, I think most of the world has seen it work. Let's be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
really, if you are a director, middle manager, individual contributor, I'm pretty sure you all are sitting there like, yeah, we've done it. We did it for years.
I mean, SmartRecruiters did it
Like,
and they just got acquired. So
and
something
everyone does
something's
it, right?
working.
So I don't think I think it's very complicated as far as why we're seeing so many return to offices. I think there's a lot of different factors that go into it. But more kind of like specifically, I recently just saw an article that said almost 100% of the Fortune 100 companies expect 5 days a week in office this year.
Wow.
And that was just like, whoa. Like that was a mind blowing statistic. Now, Fortune 100, these are huge, those are really, really big enterprises. But the challenge is that people try to follow those Fortune 100 companies because, like, they're getting the headlines. But y'all are not a Fortune 100, okay? Let alone a Fortune 500.
Yeah.
So I think that those organizations, and I think the headlines are a little misleading, and I love the Flex Index. If you all are not subscribed to the Flex Index, please do. I think Brian Elliott, shout out to Rob Sato, who started it, but Brian Elliott's kind of taken over. And they just do a phenomenal job with statistics. And the challenge is today that the Fortune 100 companies get all the headlines where everybody else is. So just one last thing, as far as like something that I heard on the show, we shout out to Tara Fitzpatrick Navarro. I had her on the Return to People podcast. We don't know when the episode's releasing because we record a lot. So Tara, be patient. But she said something on the show when we were recording yesterday that I really feel like is the staple moving forward. And she said providing choice. Providing choice results in extremely high engagement and trust. And of course, we talked about trust before, Danielle, a million times. We've talked about the topic. It's something that we talk a lot about at Blend. But I hadn't really heard and we've heard about hybrid by choice. You can choose to go in if you want as a work model. But I've never heard anybody put it in that specific context of choice is a powerful tool. transparency and choice are extremely powerful.
Mhm.
And if you provide those things to your employees, they will be forever thankful and grateful, but they will also go above and beyond. So I think that's the biggest thing that I've heard from the new show Return to People, as far as where we think this remote work is heading. Because it sounds like to me that choice is the winner in transparency, and all of these organizations that are forcing a return to office, completely opposite of those. So
Yeah.
pretty interesting.
That is such a beautifully said quote. And the other thing it makes me think of is like those Fortune 100s that are making these decisions, for whatever reason it might be. The people who work at these companies might expect harsher, and more direct ways of working, right? And
The
being told
Netflix of
what
the
to
world.
do. Exactly.
Yeah.
You make a sacrifice to get that name on your
Mhm.
resume, but for the Fortune non-100s of the world, it's
Yeah.
like, well, you might not be willing to sacrifice so much, and if you expect us to, you look like a joke. You in certain ways, right? Like, because it's like, well, why are you treating it like we're a Fortune 50
100.
company when
Yeah.
like we're just not? And it makes people question what leadership sees versus what the reality is, and that disparity being so vast is, in my opinion, a very red flag from a culture perspective. So
Oh my
that's
gosh.
also, I think,
Big
a
time.
disconnect that is, I hear it amongst a lot of my peers too. It's like, well, where they're telling us to come 5 days a week in the office. It's like, we're a shipping and logistics company. Like, how does that
Logistics.
make any, like, it doesn't make much sense.
Right.
Much like it doesn't make sense for, Apple, who enables us all to work from anywhere, to ask their employees to come back in the office full time. It just doesn't make sense.
Right.
Um,
Right. Like
but
remember the WebMD guy?
yeah.
The website's WebMD. The website is literally WebMD.
Yeah.
And they forced everyone to go in the office. It's absolutely
Yeah.
hysterical.
It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. But I am curious though, like I think there's definitely, like, I think one of the biggest problems that remote first cultures face, especially when they're not intentionally building remotely and they don't work with
Right.
consultants like you to work on their
They
strategy.
don't really want to go remote.
Yeah, maybe that too. But like, I think one of the toughest challenges I see is people feel like their career growth is limited in a remote role. And
Mm,
I am curious, like, what, if for anyone in the audience who is listening in who might have a hybrid or remote first strategy, what metrics or maybe frameworks might they expect to hear about in return to people to make more of this, employee experience from a remote first standpoint more visible
mm,
without resorting to things like surveillance or presenteeism, to rely on in order for people to get promoted, or whatever or for people to get trained, whatever the cause might be.
mm. Yeah, that's definitely a loaded question, because
It's meaty.
it's you're asking from a personal perspective. So from an individual contributor's perspective, there are some certain things. And then from an organization perspective, there are certain things. So let's start, as a consultancy, Blend, we only work with the organization, right? Like what you're supposed to do and provide for your organization so that your individual contributors can succeed. But first, let's just talk about that individual contributor real quick. Um, if you notice a in-person culture, I was going to say bro culture, but that's, bro culture is kind of old. That's old school. That's old
Yeah.
school. But if you're noticing inside jokes during meetings, when people are, when they have the video on and you're remote, if you're noticing people are going out frequently with the managers and there's a lot of connection, yeah, your career could take a hit because you're remote. It's absolutely the case. Proximity bias is a real thing. So as a hybrid employee or a remote employee where there are people, let's just focus on a hybrid company, because in a fully remote company, let me just articulate, in a fully remote company, there are no problems. Everybody's on the equal playing field. Now you have to be digitally present, which means you got to respond in a timely manner. You have to do all your tasks in a timely fashion. Your quality work has to be good, like all the obvious stuff, right? So in a fully remote company, we're all good. But in a hybrid company, that proximity bias is true. So as an individual contributor, you need to be aware of those biases and make the effort to go in. Definitely do not let your supervisor skip the one-on-ones, because those are extremely critical if you're remote and your supervisor's in office. The point of your one-on-one, nice. It's not doing it. The point of your one-on-one is to literally prove that you're a great employee. That's the way I look at it from an individual contributor's perspective who's in a hybrid company where there's a lot of people in office. So that's from there. From an organizational perspective, there are a lot of things. There are a ton.
Which you can hope to tune into on the Return to People podcast.
Absolutely. So there are too many to go into, but basically you have to transition from asynchronous. You know what I'm saying? You have to transition from synchronous work to asynchronous work, and then you have to measure based on results. So that is a huge, huge challenge for most organizations, because most organizations do not have KPIs. If you ask, how do you know that they're getting the job done? They're like, we're going back to the office. Why is that? We need to buckle down and get the job done. Oh, cool. How do you know if they're getting the job done in the office? Well, I can see them. See, that's a red flag right there, Danielle. Yeah. Because I love watching the Masters while I was in an office. So there are things like that.
I don't think you're alone in that. Well, I am so excited to tune into your new show. I'm excited for your Remotely One show to be on the Purple Acorn Network.com. So for anyone who is not already following us, Purple Acorn on LinkedIn, on YouTube, go to our website, check out all the shows that we have. Kaleem, where can people find and follow you?
Yes, obviously LinkedIn. LinkedIn, you get so much free press. Come on. So obviously on LinkedIn, I sometimes post on Instagram, trying to do my TikTok a little bit more. But yeah, LinkedIn's probably the biggest one. And of course, blendmeinc.com is the website. And then go to the PAN network. What I've tried, the PAN fam is legit. And the way I look at it is the PAN fam, it's like, I don't know, we're like the Avengers of HR podcast.
I actually love that.
Well, I'm not a huge fan of Barstool Sports, but it's kind of like that too. You know what I mean? But I'll go with the Avengers of HR podcast.
I love the vision. And I also love that you are bringing so much energy. You're bringing a new, fresh perspective. You're bringing, industry knowledge and experience. And I'm so excited for you to be with us. So please check out Kaleem's shows. Check him out on LinkedIn and all the other platforms. Here are the shows, Remotely One and Return to People. There's so much great content there, and we'll see you soon. I think we have another caller joining us.
Peace, Danielle. Thank you. See you later. Bye.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Hey, friends. How you doing?
Gang, back together.
Oh, yeah. What's happening? That was a good chat. Nice work, Danielle.
Thanks. I learned from the best.
Well, I mean,
You're welcome.
We all learn from Joel. He is the best. That's exactly. Serge, what's happening, man?
Hey, dude. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, doing well over here. Moving and grooving. Always happy to be back with the gang, and I should be back in full swing this fall. Coming back from a little hiatus. Excited to rejoin the group here. There's a lot going on. I am excited to. Well, I'm not excited to finish the summer. I don't want to rush the summer at all, but we have a lot of cool things coming up. We're going to be hitting the road again, and the big mama jama coming up is RecFest US. We're going to get the entire gang back together, right?
I love it. Tell us about your announcement. So We got some
Big
big news.
announcement here. So first and foremost, I want to give a big shout out to Jamie Leonard and the entire team over at RecFest. I first experienced RecFest in its original birthplace in Nebworth back in 2022. I had a keynote on the stage, and it was later in the day, and let's just say people were loosened up at that point, and it was an incredible experience. Went out to London, went out to Nebworth, and there is a vibe at RecFest. Everyone, if you have not been there, the only way to experience and really understand it is to go. So major announcement alert. Yeah, thank you for putting it on the screen. I don't even have to look at my other screen. So I will be hosting the Inspire stage on Wednesday the 15th, which is going to be incredible. I'm working on a really special keynote all around inspiration. So if you're there, I urge you to please come. I'm going to share a deeply personal story, tie it back into business and recruiting, and really hope to light everyone's fire and really set the stage for some incredible speakers that I'll be setting up. Kaylin Bailey, Steve White, Omar Khatib from Job Pixel, our good friend Rachel Allen from 7-Eleven, Laura Barnes, Elena Steffenpool, and the one and only Jerry Crispin. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to let loose. I'm going to let my freak flag fly and just have a lot of fun. And because that's what RecFest is all about, right? Yes, we share tons of knowledge and insight and inspiration, but it's fun. It's fun. I mean, what other event could you rock shorts and a t-shirt, Joel? Lollapalooza?
Yeah, maybe it's like RecFest. It's like Coachella for HR.
Wow.
You know, isn't that
Yes.
dope? And we're gonna be
What a
camping out
soundbite.
this year too.
Are we? That's news to me.
Evan hasn't told you, but we're getting a tent, and it's gonna be. Yeah, that's right.
Well-
Purple acorns hanging.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Danielle and I have a rider that we only glamping is a bare minimum requirement, and when we say glamping, we need to have
glamping.
running water, electricity,
Nah.
private bathrooms
Nah.
and bedrooms.
No,
Yeah.
I'm talking like masks, a tent, and some sleeping bags. Let's go.
Hey, I might be
What?
a city girl, but I did go to nature camp, so
There you
What the
go.
heck is nature camp?
I know, right?
Do you know what like poison ivy is? Like, is that what it is? You know
Yeah.
what wild berry? Do you forage?
No,
Does
I-
Faraj
yes.
forage?
Yes, I learned how to forage. I learned how to catch a chicken.
Is that your last
I-
name, Danielle?
Yeah.
Danielle forage?
Danielle
Danielle
forage.
Forge.
Did you know? I actually don't live here. I actually live in nature. I
You know what though?
forage.
That wouldn't actually be like a bad thing at RecFest because sometimes people get hungry. It's like you got to go a long way for food. So maybe we
All
could do,
those
like,
all
a
those
garden.
berries in the park in
I should
Nashville.
I should teach people how to catch a chicken.
Do
There
you
you
know
go.
which mushrooms?
Good.
Do you know which mushrooms will kill you? Which ones will make you a little trippy, and which ones are edible? Like,
Are you bringing mushrooms to
No.
RecFest? Is that what you're doing?
Well,
Adam?
that's a whole separate conversation. Here.
Adam might.
No,
Oh.
we'll see. But this
Kidding.
is going to be cool. And in addition to my stage, we have tons of other homies that are going to be representing. They're speaking. Lots of guests that have been on the show, friends of the family. It is really exciting. So anyone out there listening, if you're a practitioner in the world of recruitment, this is the one to be at, right? There is just so much connectivity. And listen, yes, the keynotes and the presentations are fantastic, but it's about the networking. It really is about the connecting. It's about just seeing faces who you only see online and connecting the dots and really forming incredible relationships and spending quality time with people and getting to know who they are offline. Right? We all have these
Love it.
online personas. We all have we're quote unquote thought leaders and we're talking about stuff in the space, but you get to know people. And I think, I know the word is overused, but it really is a community at RecFest.
Do you think RecFest, so you mentioned in 2022, you were at RecFest UK. It's the first time I ever heard of Adam Posner. It was really like your breakthrough period. Like going back to that and thinking about 2022 when you did that speech, how nervous were you? Are you way more at ease right now, like doing this in 2025? What was the impact of that?
That's a great question. I would lie if I said I wasn't nervous, but I feel comfortable when I'm on the stage, and that took years to kind of get through. I don't always love doing keynotes, and it's hard because you're putting yourself out there. We've all done them. Everyone on this stage, on this panel has done them, and it's nervous. You're putting yourself out there. Mm-hmm. You're in front of people. It comes down to preparation, knowing your material inside and out. Luckily for me, by the time 4:00 came in Nebworth, people were again pretty loosened up over there. So I had a good response, which made it easier. But as far as feeling comfortable on the stage, I don't think you ever are. And I think that's a good thing because you don't want to feel too comfortable. You want to, challenge yourself and push yourself out there. But yeah, I mean, I went back to that tape and I see what works and what didn't work. And I'm already starting my keynote. I already have the framework lined up. And here's a fun little tidbit, which I'll share with you guys. So it was probably about 3 weeks ago. I was having trouble sleeping on a Friday night, and I woke up around 3 o'clock in the morning, and I saw the keynote in front of my face. I saw the outline for it. I saw the idea, and I went downstairs into the basement, and I just started talking into my AI note taker about what I wanted this presentation to be, the thoughts and the ideas. And then the next day I took it and I put it into my GPT to start to form an outline and a formation for it. And it was just pretty magical to see it. So I think about this technology that we have today and how to use it in ways like that, where you have an idea and not letting it slip by. And even revisiting my idea for my keynote coming up, and I was like, oh no, it still holds. This is still what I want to be doing and refining it. And I just, it's, and I'm not just saying this to blow smoke. Like, this is going to be really special for those who know what I'm about to share. It's going to be a good one, guys. So please, if RecFest is on your mindset, get in. Ticket prices are still low. If you need help, all right, I'm gonna volunteer our entire team here. If you need help trying to convince your leadership to justify the cost, reach out to any of us on the panel, and we will help you with the messaging. Right, Joel? Joel said he'd help.
I'll give you a prompt. Give you a prompt.
Joel gives free prompts, and then he'll sell you a course on how to write prompts.
The course is only $399.99, 3 easy payments of $399.99.
Yeah, exactly. Serge, you going to be there?
I am going to be there, and I agree with you. For this is the must-attend event for anyone in talent acquisition, any recruiter. I would advise this is like the big one. This is the one that you need to be. It's also the funnest one, right? But to your point, if you need help, you're in talent acquisition, you need help building a case to attend, yeah, please reach out to any of us, but definitely would want to help there.
Well, awesome, guys. It's great to see everyone. I'll be back in full swing later this fall. Excited to jump back on the show.
We miss you. We miss you a lot.
We miss you.
Well, I
say that.
Oh man, I'm shedding a tear over here through my Apple headphones. They have a built-in emotional sensory device that just drips tears down my face. So I appreciate you all. Shout out to the HR Morning Show crew behind the scenes, and more to come. And I'll see you guys and hopefully all of you out there this October at RecFest. Get involved.
Later, dude.
Right.
Bye, guys.
Wow, what a show.
What a show. We heard about acquisitions. We heard about smart acquisitions, and we heard about job descriptions, and we heard about lots of great stuff today. Guys, episode 55. This is the best episode we've ever had.
Really? Whoa, that's a
this week
statement, right?
This is the best episode we've had this week. It's always good when Serge is on, though. Serge, I want to give a shout out to our weatherman. Man, you always do such a great job. Like, just great questions, great vibes. We're grateful to have you on the show. It's part of the show.
I'm as equally grateful to come on the show, and you think about it when we started this, and it's funny you mentioned the first episode that we never recorded. Oh, we never released. We did record. Man, we were horrible. Like, I just think about like how bad it was and to how much we have evolved. And think about when we hit like 150, we're gonna be like a real like morning news show.
We are real.
We're legit.
It'll be good. Well, guys, I want to give a special shout out to ERIN, our sponsor, SmartRecruiters as well, our partner, and just we couldn't be here without you guys. So go to erinapp.com. Go get those red shoes too, because if you want to be cool at RecFest, you got to have red shoes. You got to be part of the crew. If you're not, like, you're just gonna feel like left out. And you don't want to wear blue shoes. You want to wear red shoes. Red is my favorite color. It's that. Look at that. Look at my phone case right there. I'm just like a
decked out
brand whore, and I'm proud of it. So I love you guys. We'll be back next week. We'll have another great show for you guys. If you want to get involved, you want to be a sponsor, you want to be a guest, hit us up. We'll get you in contact with the man, the myth, the legend.
Make some
and then
fun
we'll
content.
Make some fun content. Have some good times. You guys, peace out.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.